Um, I really look forward to this session myself because it's a while that I have heard Lizandra speaking about it. It's definitely one of her big contributions to this philosophy and body of work. Um, and yeah, I would say without further ado, stage is yours, Liz. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you. Yeah. So I I am particularly interested in the celebration process because it is some really interesting perspective of the individual dimension. It's one the reason in the dragon dreaming model it is in the individual dimension, no? And from the practice. And when I started to study and enter in contact with dragon dreaming, I recognized that it is some part, have some weakness there in terms of techniques, in terms of time also. The project also takes so much energy and we forget to celebrate. No? Have some kind of scare in terms of celebration, in terms of the deep meaning of celebration, huh? Not, of course, not just the party. Principally in Brazil, it's easy. We go for outside to celebrate, to express outside, but not really easy to come for our personal reflection. No, it called my attention a lot. And with the research I am doing with about dragon dreaming for last years, I also give some attention for the celebration for understand not only what it's mean in terms of in dragon dreaming, but also what it's mean properly, not the celebration itself. I did a mix about the terms of the celebration for we understand the meaning of it and also the meaning of it in dragon dreaming itself. Okay. Like the research in terms of the story and techniques I did, I am using some of documents, unpublished documents of dragon dreaming, which I have access, and soon it will be available because I am digitalizing these documents, then you can have access. And yeah, I based it on it. I based it also in my personal experience, in terms of the study about the human being and the individual. And my practice in the project to know how it happened in project and what's the challenge for it. And this investigation was also a good resource for the investigation about blockades. So I will show I did a briefly presentation. I think it can be easy for we follow, and also because English is not my language, my mother language, then can guide us together to understand the meaning in this virtual condition. Huh? Okay. So, yeah. As I said, celebration is an important meaning for human existence because celebration it's about recognition, and it's also about my needs of recognition. All of us have some kind of some different levels of these needs to be recognized by others. It is also part of the meaning of the celebration, but also our capacity to go inside ourselves and recognize wherever it is, because open the inner process of to transform the meaning, to pass for the process, to enter in the process. And it is the inner celebration. Because this is so important for the human being. Because when I reflect inside myself, it gave me the opportunity and the skills to act differently, or act knowing, aware about what I'm doing. And also in terms of dragon dream, we make the connection of the celebration for the dream, because the dream quadrant, it's the first step is the awareness. So celebration makes this process. Also, it is our contribution for life, because when I act knowing what I'm doing, I can really contribute with life itself. And of course, contribute with others collaboratively, collectively. And it is exactly the dialogue I always say between individual and environment, and also theory and practice. Because this movement go and back for environment and individual, the theory and the practice only happen through celebration. And celebration also is the feedbacks. We will see that. We'll understand what it means. So let's reflect about the meaning of the word celebrate. Celebrate has this meaning of, from Latin, celebratus, much frequented, famous. So keep solemn has this meaning exactly individual and go for outside, to be famous. Famous is when everyone knows. Also, these collect, assemble to honor means I collect and honor what I collected in terms of whatever, information, perception. So you can see the origin of the word have this sense of individual, but also to go outside. Look, the other meaning is to publish. So it is what make visible to see. So, but to make it visible to see, I need to recognize. I need really to see. It's also, we can go for the Daniel session yesterday about perception. We need to perceive properly, to see and make it visible. I need to know to make it visible. And this sense of recognition happens through reflection. So it is the principal meaning, also the meaning in Dragon Dream. In Dragon Dreaming, then as I said, I make this dialogue also with the model for we understand what it is in Dragon Dreaming. It's the first wheel of Dragon Dreaming. Tomorrow also I have a session to talk more about that. It's the point where John developed the first model, the first understanding of this information. You can see the feedback is the central. It was the point where he started to understand the feedbacks, and the feedback connected with this meaning of celebration. And this will have some evolution. He grows this meaning. I will stop a little bit because I think we will have such noise now here. I didn't know they will come from my roof now. I will just move the room okay? And start again. 1 minute, please. So, feedback. So, the feedback makes us chant. Okay. So, then he grows the meaning or the growth of these, the understanding and the growth, the model itself until to be the dragon dream, how we know today, no? And the second wheel he developed was this wheel, no? But you can see, and I'm sure part of you knew this in the earliest of your contact with dragon dreaming, knew this wheel. So this wheel hasn't so clear the concept of celebration, and also not really clear the concept of feedbacks, how it move in this model. Huh? And I particularly like this draw because it was the first draw John did for the dragon dreaming, and it's a way to bring John here with us. And when I started so question this model, it caught my attention because we miss the celebration in this wheel, no, in this model like it is. Then John and I start really reflect about that and how could we really bring the concept of celebration to be clear and to be part of this wheel. Then we developed the other stage of this process, the complete dragon dream wheel. It is the completely model of dragon dreaming. And then we include each step of the celebration, which is the revision, reconsideration, reevaluation, and reflection. And I like the idea of to see the revision and the reconsideration, each step in each quadrant as a celebration, because we can, through revision or through reconsideration or reevaluation or reflection, move, no, in this cycle, how much we need for, and the image I bring for me is to concentrate enough energy until through this feedback, this celebration process, we have the enough energy to impulse, to jump for the next quadrant. And because I make these cycles here, and through revision, we can go for the considered alternatives. So through reconsideration, we go for the implementation. And it is beautiful in the wheel, not in the model, but how it is in the practice. Practice need really to be attentive in the feedbacks, because it's the feedbacks, give for us the information about. Now we can go. The feedback in myself, my energy, my perception, my sensation, my understanding about the process with the group, in the process, in the project. And it also brings the concept about open system. It's key for understand this movement I'm showing to you. Because the open system is we are open system, also project is open system, and the group process, it's open system. What it means? We receive a feedback, inputs, have some process inside the system, some process inside the project, inside ourselves, inside the group, and through this process has the output, have actions for outside the system. And it generates feedback not only for the system, but also for the outside the system, for the environment, if we consider ourselves as a system. So it happened all the time. And our capacity to recognize what's happening, recognizes the celebration, process, give this movement and the importance of the celebration for any kind project, any kind system, human system. And so it is the wheel I work with. When I'm talking about dragon dreaming, it is the wheel I consider is the model to guide the process, and also the tools inside each quadrant, each step. So it is exactly what I said. The celebration will be the constant feedbacks happen all the time. So when some people ask it, but celebration is a step, we need to understand the model is just one intellectual understanding. No, life itself, it is not strict, it's not rigid. It is something in movement. No, it is in movement all the time. The feedbacks, it's happening all the time. We need to develop the capacity. No. Daniel, could you mute everyone? Thank you. It happens all the time. We need to develop our personal skills to have the capacity to accept, because sometimes we need to accept the feedbacks, it's appear clearly, but we are blocked to perceive. It is an important capacity and skills we need to develop it in ourselves, a learning process. And in Dragon Dreaming, in the celebration, we talked about the response will demonstrate, the response give the satisfaction, no? And it's something I want to reflect with you, because our human mind, has ability to consider when we speak this kind of word, no satisfaction, and consider we are the success, or to say the project goes well, it's when I am satisfied. It's something we need to maybe reconsider, because also the satisfaction and the perceive of goes well depends of the eyes of the individual. I'm sure you know people always everything it's okay and always it's satisfaction. Have people always not satisfied. Then we see again how this concept of celebration depends of the individual, and then we understand why the celebration is in the part of the individual dimension. And it's easy, also it's easy, we see, or we consider, and we accept, principally we accept, I am satisfied when everything goes well and it's good, and the feedback will show for us the project is a success, my ideas was a success, it's nice. But I wonder if when I am totally satisfied, it is really a good way to learn. Because our tendency, I wonder about that, because our natural tendency to stay in the comfort zone. When I'm talking about celebration, I like to see how I can also develop the capacity to not avoid the feedbacks. Doesn't make me comfortable. Not scared about that. I'm not talking only the feedback directly for me personally, but also kinds of feedback happen in the project, in life itself. Feedback, it's stimulus, no? It's a stimulus I receive. No, it's a stimulus the project is receiving. So how I can consider and be flexible enough, maybe, to be flexible, to look as if something is not going well, I can learn with that and not consider I'm losing, but take it as a learning to open the reflection, you know, to create new possibilities, new ways to solve what needs to be solved. And then I love the idea of Mandela says, like, we never lose. I either win or learn. And it's a good word for we see the feedbacks with different perspective. It is authentic celebration. Go deep in the reflection. Go deep in the recognition about what is emerging, about what is happening, or about what happened in the past. In terms of the model, let's see the next. So when I have this capacity to consider, no, wherever it is, understand my perception of the things, because it's completely different the perception of others. It makes me easy also to work collaboratively with others, because I can consider the different perceptions. And also consider the satisfaction, the failed, also depend of the perception, because I can consider, I can learn. Or it's a door for I develop. I think it is the magic of the celebration. And bring for Dragon Dream again, we can understand the vision and the mission, because the celebration happened after all the process. We dream, plan, do, and celebrate. Celebrate is the last step. Why? Because I look back, I lived out of the experience. I lived the experience. No, I thought about that. I idealize, no, in dream. Dream, it's much more about idealization. I think how it could be concrete. I live in my body in the doing stage. Then I can look behind and see what happened. How was the process? And it is what we call the prescription. No, I see the past. It's the vision. My capacity to see in the past, to see what happened, and look in the future. Look in the future. When I look the future, I'm looking for the dream. But I'm looking for the dream, new dream, awareness, no? Maybe if I really live with the experience, I can I can enter in this process of dream with my awareness arised more than when I started some experience. And then vision and mission, it's this process between celebration and dream. Because the celebration gives for us, through reflection, look in the past, and his description, sorry, it's not prescription, he is past is description. I can look in the past, describe, understand what happened, and my recognition about that, and look in the future, and start a new dream, awareness, motivated, and start new plans. And because out of this meaning, this process of celebration, of our capacity to recognize, our capacity to look inside ourselves, we can regenerate communities. We can see what was not good and what I can make differently. And then enables us to recognize what we see, to say what we think, to do what we say, and recognize what we have done. Because all of this process depends on my capacity of self-reflection. Only when I have this, I'm able to enter in my self-reflection, my reflection, I am able to express it to the world, for the others. Then, it is also the process of wisdom. So the last step in dragon dreaming is the discernment. It's the wisdom. But the wisdom doesn't come from nothing. Wisdom comes from experience, from my capacity to really live for myself the experience. How it happened. So we live in the world as human condition, now in our current life, current world, historical moment. This noise is more than before. But we are all the time with so much information. It's noise, it's also so much information. And it can be the first step. We have information. And have some people, for example, have just information with so many books, so much studies, but stay just in the mind. Has so long way to it, this information become wisdom. Then, from the wisdom, if you went a little bit in the experience, you can understand something. But the understanding depends on some inner process. And the knowledge, you have more experience. Principally emotional experience from the heart, from the body. And through this process can be the wisdom. But more than that, just the process, what me I bring for you a concept of being and know. When I'm talking about this process of information, understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, we are also talking about the level of being, the development of the being, to maybe become a human being. with all the capacity, abilities to reflect, to really live wherever it is inside ourselves. So the being, we can develop some kind of being. And when I'm talking about it, I'm talking not academic or study, intellectual study. I am talking about the real capacity of to understand beyond yourself, to understand I come here in this earth, in this world, this life, after the world. It means have something huge before me. It is the first step to start the journey to growth, the being. I hope you understand this concept when I am talking about being. And we can discuss about it when I finish. And we have some people developed just this, just know everything, and stay in that information and understanding. Information and understanding. Information and understanding. Doesn't have the possibility to go for the knowledge and maybe active some wisdom. And I could say the middle, when we develop together the same level of my being and the information, the knowledge, the know, academically, books, information itself, we could call it as a knowledge. And when we really develop it, I have some level of my being, we can start to talk about the wisdom. And when I'm talking about this developing here, we are also talking about the spirituality. When we talk about the word comes before me, it's me. When I develop it here, my being is go beyond my selfish, beyond myself, across my own boundaries, my own limits to be center of the world. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Because Lizandra, I'm not the center of the world. And this deep understanding make me develop my being and together my know. And I wonder, what's more important? Develop myself. And the celebration, from my perspective, I think it's much more about developing my capacity to be a human being. And it is something in terms of projects, in terms of collaborative process. It is not something, just to make clear, in Dragon Dream, is not something needs to be done at the end of the project. It's happened all the time. And developing these capacities, individual capacities I mentioned before, also developed the capacity to see what emerges, wherever, in each moment. And when I develop this capacity to see what emerges, I will be the feeling when we need to stop and really give attention for the feedbacks. And maybe it's the time to change the way, change the plans. it's really a risk. We look at the plan, and the plan needs to go like we thought until the end. Principally, if we are talking about collaborative projects, because collaborative projects has how many perceptions? If it's a group of four perceptions, and 4 perceptions, it's a lot. It's a lot. So in the celebration, how much we develop this capacity to recognize the feedbacks, to not scare about it, we'll be able to see the moment change the way. Sometimes a little bit, sometimes it's so much, and you really need to sit and analyze, reconsider, reevaluate, and decide what's will be the better way. It is celebration. So we have some time. I can say to you in terms of dragon dreaming, I like to answer these questions, not always what we have learned, what has been the transformation, what could make different, because it gives for us the information for the next step, the next dream, the next project, we will be better. And I really like in terms of to in the end of the project, is sit and look at how everything happened. If you use the tools, if you use the techniques of dragon dreaming, go back for the dream circle, for the objectives, really see each of these steps again. I say to you, look behind what happened. Look behind the documentation. And through this, we can express. We can express how it was. And a good way, it's about story. Tell the story about dragon dreaming. I have collected the stories of projects I have facilitated or workshops. And it's amazing sometimes how small projects, or also big projects, when you start to tell the story, the people express what it was, how it happened, how wisdom emerged from this kind of expression. Have been really interesting to use this process of express. People have opportunity to express themselves in telling the story. And it in terms of dragon dreaming. And in the end, I start to go to the end for we have time for reflect and maybe do something. I bring this reflection about Rumi. Is the moment you accept the problem or the challenge or recognition that have been given to you the door you open. So it is about recognition. It's about not scare about what you see. It is about celebration. And to close, for me, if I bring some myth, some symbol for the celebration, I will bring the Prometheus myth. Principally from one version of this story, because I think this version is from Schilo. When God, the Zeus, give the wonderful word for the human beings, it was the gold age, but the human beings start to lose the conscious, the awareness. Then start to fight and enter in the silver age. Some conflicts, but could live, but they didn't recognize exactly what happened. And from this process, not recognize what happened, they lose more and more the awareness, the conscious. The myth is better conscious. Until pass for the Bronze Age, start the conflicts, more battles, until we fell in the Iron Age. And the Prometheus, feeling that, went there and stole the fire from Zeus and give for the humanity. And then we could take our awareness again, because the symbol of the fire for this myth is the conscious. Then the Prometheus give the conscious for the humans again. And he paid the price for it. And it's also a beautiful part, beautiful aspect of this myth. Because to be conscious, arise awareness, has consequence. Because this, the wisdom. Because when we see, when we have discernment means I know I have a choice, and also we know the consequence of my choice. I chose the Prometheus myth and symbol of the fire for the celebration, for we understand the celebration, what it's mean. And we also live the experience of celebration. Yeah, I stop here for we exchange a little bit, maybe through comments or questions. We can go deeper in this reflection about celebration and celebrate, since celebration it's reflect.
This maybe, I know you mentioned the celebration, the reflection happens all the time, while we are doing the Dragon Dream or facilitating a project. But sometimes I felt the need, to stop and give some space for the group to celebrate. And usually we've been doing that, like reflecting on the process. So, we just did, for example, mission setting or objective setting. And then, okay, now let's go around and how did you feel? Is there any other tools or thing that you do to, have this celebrative experience while going through the steps, the Dragon Dream steps?
Well, I could say depend about the context. I think the tools we choose depend of the context. And also the skills you have. From my skills, sometimes I open a systemic movement, for example. No, it is the skills I have. My recommendation is to see also what kind of skills the group have, and develop the so we go again for the meaning of discernment. This develop the discernment to also choose what tools we could use in that moment, But I felt, Renato, so first of all, it's we need to recognize a challenge when we are making a project properly. Also, I recognize myself, sometimes the project is so intense and we need to do, and it's hard to stop and celebrate. It's really hard. I think it's the first recognition we need to have. It's not easy to stop when everything is happening. And we need deadlines, and we need to pay things. So I think the first recognition, yes, it is difficult. It is difficult. Will you stop and see what's happened or not? Or we decide to go? Huh? I felt in the planning, if you are doing a planning, it's easier because in the plan you have some time. I really like the idea to not to go the techniques so fast, to give some time for it, if you have time, of course. And stop after, in terms of dragon dreaming, if you stop after the dream circle, it's amazing. You think it's simple, but it's really deep. When after a session, when we think we finish the dream circle, maybe use 2 days, 3 days, whatever, you sit and say, so it is really the project I want to be? Because after the dream circle, we really see the intentions of everyone. Also my intention. After, in these dreams, what emerges here, what people want, it's where I want to be. Each person make this question. Maybe some person can leave the project in this moment, and it's amazing. And I have seen it happen, and the person go with the heart free, because yes, I really recognize I don't want to stay here. And it also opens space for the group, because then can go with more motivation, and also recognizing the person, recognize the group. The same after the objectives. I always do, when I can, of course, sometimes it's not easy, after each two, really sit and, is it what we're talking about? No? And yeah, and we have the systemic movement, I use a lot. And I say to you, Renato, it's not about to give a tools, because if you open the internet, you find all kinds of tools. I think we are in the time, in the human life, it's not more about the tool, it's about who is applied the tool. Who is choosing this tool to apply or not? I think it's the point. It's what I'm seeing in my experience. Sometimes we think just make dream circle and the objectives. It's not a guarantee of success of the project. So I don't know if I answer your question, but you know I am available. If you have some concrete situation, we can reflect.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Yo quisiera compartir un aha. ¿Me lo pueden traducir al inglés?
Sí, sí.
Thank you.
I will take Raquel, okay? I hope I can.
Me aparece como un aha hermoso el que el aprendizaje puede traer el nivel de tu desarrollo de conciencia. Y es
Sí.
una celebración.
Sí. So she said qual foi a palavra que usou primeiro? Concentrei em ti, perdi.
El aprendizaje.
The learning process.
El mismo nivel o profundidad que tu propio desarrollo de conciencia.
Sim. Então, the learning process can have the same or different, no?
El nivel de profundidad del aprendizaje está en directa relación con el nivel de profundidad de tu propio desarrollo
Sí.
de conciencia.
So the level of the learning is directly connected with the level of your personal development, the personal growth. Is it? And it is a celebration. Yeah. Is it? It's a great aha. So I'm glad I could transmit, que pude transmitir. É isso. Creio que é isso que estamos hablando de celebração. I believe it is the deep meaning about celebration. No, because that it's in the individual dimension. Yeah. So if we have any other comment or question, I will propose a talk in pairs, but before we talk in pairs, we could close the eyes a little bit, just for we make recognition about where I am in terms of my project, in terms of my commitment, in terms of my wish, what I want for the future. Let's take a few minutes for we connect with what's my commitment, what's my wish. I'm working for make it happen. Why am I distracting through so much information and stimulus and losing myself, for example? And how I am now in my life. And I am really committed with my intentions, my purpose, my destiny. Let's each of you take this breath and open space inside you to just recognize it's not something right or wrong or need to be or must to be. It's just recognition. Just recognition. Recognition about my fear, my motivation. If I'm losing energy. Maybe just to recognize can give me the relax and give me what I don't need. Sometimes just recognition is enough to let go. The deep recognition. Do we feel the air, the body? And we come back here. So I was talking about it's part of the celebration to express, no? To make the word knows. I wonder, we are a few people now. We could share here, or we could go for the in pairs. What do you prefer? In pairs? Maybe can be more relaxed, can express. I would like we share this your sense, your perception about your experience of recognize. Now, and also can bring your experience in your life. What happened when you recognize things? Estou hablando, Raquel, que vamos hablar por nuestra experiencia de reconocer. A hora, que passou a hora quando reconheci algo em minha vida? Que passa que passa em mim quando eu reconozco? Vamos em... Sim, Stefan?
Can I ask you one question? Is that when we recognize something, is that idea of perceiving being, perceiving sensorial being, and just recognizing a perspective upon myself or a perspective upon something? I suppose the sense of celebration is when we are more maybe in that perceiving of our immersed kind of senses. I was just wondering that idea. I don't know how it works in Portuguese with perception and perspective. I've been wondering how that is thought of. If there's a shift in recognizing a sort of an inner felt sense versus and how that shifts to a perspective. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good reflection out in terms of language, but I believe, so of course I'm talking through my perception. I think the capacity of perceive something outside depends on my capacity to perceive my own experience inside. We can see it in small examples, no? In practical life. I am doing things in my home, for example, and have the painter needs to paint the house and he needs to have some details, no, in the stone. For me, aesthetically, from my perception, some part cannot be painting. But for he, it was obvious, needs to paint that part. And I was talking with him, and this aesthetical perception depends also from our inner capacity and inner experience in different kind of contact with art, with knowledge, with information, change my eyes the way I perceive. Daniel showed yesterday a very interesting class about that. Know that class you arrive later, is because my capacity, this shift depends on the being and also the development of the being. And it is what we talked a little bit about yesterday, when what happened in the groups. And it's exactly, and what it's, for me, it's the magic to work with the groups, it's about that. Because each person perceive what has happened and also the feedbacks from the inner experience. it shows for us the challenge of make the things collaboratively. It's the challenge. And I believe, and I really believe, for we grow and have success, what we really call collaboration, depends of developing the being. Because then I can accept the diversity. I can be flexible. No? I don't know if I answer or I give some.
Yeah, no, that's useful. So there's a strong sense that the inner sense of who you are is what's shifting mostly. That's the main focus.
Yeah.
True.
Exactly. And I think also it is easy to be said, but it's difficult to live.
Mm-hmm.
No?
That can be interesting.
It is something we can read in the books, but until really live in our sense, we don't understand.
Mm-hmm. So it's sitting. Well, that's where celebration can be good.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't got to worry about the books.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, it is because it is after the experience. I need to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing is that there is this idea of perspective taking, which could be also something, particularly in a planning stage, when you're working and you imagine taking perspectives in relation to maybe, so as well as changing the quality here, it might be changing the perspective taken there. But there's a risk of that becoming distant bodies. So that was the only thing I was thinking is kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is it? It's also it. We have done in live. Yeah, thank you, Cedrine. Thank you, Petra. So we are talking about collaborative Confestival because this I'm asking, sorry, do you want to make some comments? Do you want to share something through your experience, or do you want to make connections in pairs? Or maybe Daniel? You say? You are mute? Yeah.
Since we're quite a small group, my suggestion would have been to stay like that. But I can also organize rooms, whatever you prefer, guys.
Let's make one thing here. We are a few people, and it will be recorded, and I think it can be a very good celebration when we make a round. One person say, what I celebrate myself. In 2 rounds, we make a round, what I celebrate myself, what is I have a perception of it's a challenge for me. And in the second round, what I recognize myself, and it is something in myself support me. I recognize that it's my strength. It's good of me. Could be. Like to celebrate our humanity with the good aspects, and my challenge open the door for learn. I can start the round. Can be? We can celebrate ourselves? Okay. I can start. I celebrate my challenge to expose myself in big groups. I can call Daniel.
For me, it's at the moment the capacity to overcome my small chaotic self to spin different plates and be in service to people, to different people at the same time. Sabine?
I can celebrate the challenge now to just when someone speak about something that's different from my point of view, that's different from my point of view. Just try more to listen and to understand before react to that. Just take time to just be with the other and try to be more in the understanding of the other, comprehension. Yeah. And I call Sandrine. Hi.
Hello, Sabine. Happy to see you and all of you. I'm celebrating the, how can I say, something from my personality, which is to take time to observe. And I think in a group, in a collective, and before it was a fear, and now it's a quality. To take time to have the vision, the global vision, to see what's happened. So I can give my service to the group where I feel OCAPT needed instead of just, I want to do that. And I'm calling Svetlana.
Hello. Yes. I see. Oh, and it's round 2, right? Celebrating something that is our strength. I'm sorry. I just came in.
Yeah, and your challenge.
Oh, both. You want me to speak of both? Well, most recent one, right? I mentioned. It's interesting. I think of strength as something that I usually enjoy doing. It's almost like the passion, and then it becomes your strength. So for me, I feel like I've been celebrating lately my strength and passion in bringing people together and finding ways to work together. And it's also the challenge. I think it's also within that I'm celebrating. There is my personal challenge with it that I realized recently what is about actually not feeling like I have like a tendency to feel like to take on responsibility for everything that's happening and feeling things are not going well, that I need to fix it, or if somebody's upset and things like that. So in a way, kind of taking myself out of the group, like, being like, that's just my way of not being a part of the group, I realized. and that's just something I've become aware, and it's interesting, the idea of celebrating it. I guess I feel like I can celebrate becoming clear about it, because then I understand better who I am, and maybe I have a choice or an opportunity to see things in a different way and come up with another way.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. So do I need to call on someone? I don't know who went.
Yeah. Renato, this Galax, Jeff, Maria.
Okay, so Daniel didn't go yet?
Yeah, he spoke.
Oh, he spoke. Okay. Oh, Renato didn't. Okay, I call on Renato then.
Okay, thanks, Svetlana. So for me, I feel like a dragon challenge, difficulty to pay attention and to be present and to really listen. I can't do it for long stretches of time. I get in trouble with my wife because of that. I'm getting there, I'm learning, and I'm trying to be more mindful. And I recognize as a strength perseverance, and also being able to juggle many things and have many things running at the same time without getting too crazy.
Mm.
Yeah. So, Stefan.
Yeah, so I suppose the challenge I have is getting torn between different people's ways of thinking and getting kind of stretched and pulled and not taking the time just to clear their head. So I think this is nice, just to take some time to just to celebrate, say, look, we are where we are, and then allow stuff to start to, you know, have that break, because you don't go out partying as much as you get older, so you don't get that chance to do it socially. So yeah, I'll pass that to Raquel.
Thank you, Stefan. Well, I celebrate myself to live simply and aligned to my purpose in the complexity. This is my challenge, and my celebrate to myself in the present. Well, paso palabra to Maria Emilia.
Olá, eu posso falar em português, Liz?
Pode.
Obrigada.
Bom te ver.
Bom te ver. Eu celebro a minha coragem de estar aqui sem compreender muito bem o inglês.
She celebrates the courage to be here and doesn't understand so well the English.
E eu estar conseguindo compreender o que vocês falam através, talvez, da essência.
And she celebrates, she can understand maybe through accents.
E o fato recente de eu aceitar realmente o que eu faço e o que eu gostaria de fazer, e estar conseguindo observar mudanças na minha vida por conta disso.
She celebrates the capacity to see what's happened, she see the change, and the capacity to make the shift, the change she wants in her life. Good.
É isso. É isso. Todos falaram?
Some person went because I think she realized that she would talk. She left in the room. So Jeffy, do you want to share with us?
Wow, yeah, I'm like that guy that like crashes the Zoom party. Yeah, I had no idea what was happening, so I just clicked on. But I'm catching on. Well, I'm in the
Celebrate yourself.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm in the United States, so I'm celebrating the fact that I'm, we're in COVID, and which is awful, but at least most of my friends and family and neighbors are doing okay. I guess the challenge is, I got to learn Portuguese. Wow, that sounds really good. That's a lot prettier than English. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, no, it was English. So we are finishing, and yeah, we are in the end. You just arrived.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah. Tchau, Maria Emília, prazer te ver. Manda notícia de vez em quando. I celebrate our humanity, and when I listen, it really touched my heart. And I think what Emilia mentioned, like she could understand, it's because when we are open inside, no, it's not just words, just information, the boundary, no. And I celebrate it. I celebrate our capacity to communicate as a human beings. And it's amazing when I hear you and your challenge and your strength. We can see both can be challenge and can be strength. Depends of the perspective. And everything depends from the perspective and the attitude in front of this challenge or this strength. Because if I am so strength, it can be arrogance. If it's arrogance, maybe it will not be really well to be collaboratively, for example. So, and how we can recognize what's happening in me will give me the door to continue growth, or we close my door. So what is the strength on challenge? Depends my attitude in front of it, and how I work myself about, and also to accept the others too. Then I close our session celebrating our humanity, this wonderful gift to be human being. It gives for us the opportunity to growth. We are the only being able to grow with awareness. Know I'm growing. Know about my development. So I celebrate your humanity and my humanity, and I hope to see you again. And enjoy the Confestival, enjoy your life, celebrate your life. Bye.
Thank you, Lizandra.
Thank you all to come.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, everybody.
Celebration for life, for all.
Ciao.
Ciao, everybody.